Welcome back to TransGuyReacts. My name is Nick, and I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. Today, I'm going to talk about the WNBA games for August 17th. Today is Saturday, August 17th. So, started off, before I get into the games, we'll talk about the transactions. So, for New York Liberty, they did release Jalen Sherrod, but of course, they re signed her in the same day to a 7-day contract. This is her third contract with New York Liberty. Odyssey Sims got signed to a 7-day contract, her first contract with the Los Angeles Sparks, which is kind of funny because on August 15th, I made a video where I literally said Odyssey would get signed to the Sparks. After New York whooped that ass, I could see it. I knew that was coming in, and I figured they weren't going to ask Monique Billings back, and if they did ask her back, she would probably decline, so I'm not surprised, and it was a smart move of them to sign her because she's like averaging 17 points a game, so yeah, made sense. I'm glad they got her. It's ridiculous that she's not on a team, but there's just not enough roster spots, as everyone knows. But get into the games. We had two games on at not at the same time. We had back-to-back games on CBS. Minnesota Lynx versus Washington Mystics, and then right after that it was New York Liberty versus Los Angeles Sparks, and then the last game was on League Pass. So the first CBS game, Minnesota Lynx versus Washington Mystics, I live out of the country, so I had to watch the game on CBS.com using my YouTube TV login and my VPN. But yeah, they literally just played each other the other day. I think they just played on each other's courts or whatever, so there's a little bit of travel involved. But the first quarter kind of started off really slow and ended somewhat like even though the Lynx had the lead. Carly Samuelson might have gotten hurt, which is it's just so sad. Like the Mystics, tons of people getting hurt for them. The second quarter, the Lynx were firmly in control. Then Alana Smith looked like she got hurt, and I was like, oh, Jesus. But Alana does come back in the third quarter. Washington was trying, and they were staying with the Lynx, actually. They were keeping up with and keeping the lead. But the Lynx were keeping their lead, but the Washington Mystics were keeping up. Brittany Sykes goes back to the back of the arena. Hopefully she's not hurt. She does end up coming back, but I was just like, damn, if she's hurt, the amount of injuries that Mystics are having is just unprecedented, and they're having a terrible season because of it. The Lynx end up building a crazy wide lead halfway through the third quarter. Mystics started committing lots of fouls at the end of the third quarter. And there's one point, actually, Diamond Miller of the Lynx commits a hard foul on Aaliyah Edwards. Their arms get like hooked, and Miller like throws Aaliyah down on the ground, which was incredibly unnecessary. They were up by like 20 points. The refs go to review it, and of course it is it's too much. It's over the limit, and it's deemed excessive, and she gets a flagrant one. But yeah, it was incredibly unnecessary. They had like a 22-point lead. It was so stupid. But due to that lead, the starters for the Lynx did sit down, and most of the bench just got some minutes, which was great. Olivia Pupa, CK Kone, Elisa Pili, they all got in the game, and they got minutes, so that was fantastic. I love to see them actually getting some time. Stephanie Dolson and Shakira Austin played really well for the Mystics. It just wasn't enough. They just needed more firepower, and they needed to stop making some mistakes. But I do appreciate that the Mystics continued to play hard on every play, even though they were getting blown out. And Minnesota Lynx were just shy of hitting that century mark. The game was 99-83. Let's look at the box score. So for Washington Mystics, you had Shakira Austin with 16 points. She had 3 steals, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds. Stephanie Dolson had 23 points. She had 1 steal. Ariel Atkins had 11 points and 5 assists. Brittany Sykes had 7 points, 7 assists. Shitori Wakakempo had 11 points. Aaliyah Edwards had 5 points, 7 rebounds, I believe. Yeah. So there was like a lot of good help from the entire team, except for Dee Richards, because she's injured right now, so she couldn't play. But everyone played, everyone contributed, but it just wasn't enough compared to the Minnesota Lynx. Bridget Carlton, she had 16 points, the Canadian wonder. Nafisa Collier had 30 points. I mean, what are you going to do with that? 2 steals. Alana Smith had 6 points, 7 rebounds. Kayla McBride had 10 points. Kind of a quiet night for her, but she did have 4 steals. Courtney Williams had 14 points, 7 rebounds. Dorka Uhas had 9 points. Diamond Miller had 7. Elisa Peely had 6. It was just a much stronger outing for the Minnesota Lynx. For the next game that was on CBS right afterwards was the New York Liberty versus Las Vegas Aces. This is the first game for the Las Vegas Aces coming back with the four Olympians. Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Kelsey. Kelsey. Oh my God, why am I blanking on Kelsey's last name? Wow, I'm blanking on Kelsey's last name. That is wild. What the hell is Kelsey's last name? Kelsey Plum. Oh my God. Wow. That was really weird. Blanked on her name. Also, Megan Gustafson played for Spain in the Olympics. So we had 5 Olympians coming back in their first game. And these are, the two super teams, as they say, and they were going at it. So a big rivalry, even though Jack played with Stewie and Sabrina in the Olympics. But, they got to go back to their normal roles of being rivals. So the Aces did start off really super strong and fast in that first quarter. It was wild. They were playing really, really good. And at one point, the smoke machines went off that were attached to the basketball hoops. Not sure what that was about. Even the commenters were confused, like, what's going on? But Liberty were able to come back, and there's only like a 4-point difference with the Aces up. In the second quarter, Liberty turn on the pressure and make their shots. Aces start missing every shot they make. They start fouling. And then the Aces do kind of get it together, but Liberty are just like a touch better in the second quarter. They do show Floyd Mayweather Jr. at the game. Great. In the third quarter, Aces do come back, and they're playing a lot better, but the Liberty still are able to control most of the quarter. And this is a really intense quarter for both teams. They're both going at it. It's contentious, as I say. In the fourth quarter, the game is very, very tight. Aces trying to close that gap, and they do get within like 2 points. At one point, they get within 2 points of evening it up, but then they lose it again, and the gap gets back up to like 7-9 points. So it is neck and neck, going back and back. But the Liberty were able to maintain their lead, and I knew that this was going to be a tough win for the Aces because they showed on television that the Liberty had a history of, if they're leading at the half, they were 16-0 in terms of winning. So I was like, ooh, Aces are probably not going to win this game. So it did end 79-67. Jackie Young had a terrible game. She only had 4 points, so she had a lot of personal fouls. She just wasn't getting it going. Asia Wilson had a great game. She had 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. She did what she could, just wasn't enough. Kelsey Plum had 13 points. Chelsea Gray had 13 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. And that was kind of it. Like Tiffany Hayes and Alicia Clark both had five points. It just was not enough, and they were getting a lot of foul trouble, so it just didn't help them. New York Liberty, on the other hand, Leona Fibic, she just came back from being on the Germany team. She had 12 points, 7 rebounds. She had 1 steal. Brianna Stewart had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Jonquel Jones had 10 points, 17 rebounds. She had a double-double. 17 rebounds. That's crazy. Sabrina Ionescu had 23 points, 6 rebounds. Kayla Thornton had 7 points. She came in and made some really good shots, and she also had like 6 rebounds. So she was having a great contribution. So it just wasn't in the cards for the Aces tonight, so they weren't able to pull that off. And then the last game of the day was the Chicago Sky versus Los Angeles Sparks. Kennedy Carter, who was sick, she's back from the illness. And I would say that game is fairly even in that first quarter. Odyssey Sims gets her first minutes on the same day she was signed to the Sparks, which is kind of crazy. She got in the game. But there were lots of late calls from the refs. These refs, I don't love them. The Sky are up 1 point at the end of the first quarter. They cut to Cheryl Miller, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul. They're all in the building, so that was cool. There's celebrity love. You go into the second quarter, Kennedy Carter blocks Kia Nurse's shot and gets called the foul. So Kennedy is upset. She protests to the ref, who called it, and that ref gets mad, gives her a technical. Then the Sky decides to challenge the call. It does look clean on the replay, but they upkeep the call, and it's an unsuccessful challenge. But for me, my perspective, because of that technical, I don't think even if the refs saw that it was a clean block, they're going to give it to them, because the refs are petty and in their feelings. And they since they had already given her a technical, I can even see the guy who gave the technical was trying to convince the ref that who's in charge that it was a foul. Like, he was talking to him. You could tell he was like gesturing like it's a foul. You can see it. So refs in their feelings. Anywho, Sparks take a 4-point lead going into the halftime. Halftime show was really weird. It was like middle schoolers and like this dance group, some children dancing. I don't know. I think that's weird. I'm like, this is professional sports. Why do you have children as your performers? So weird. And they're not even. It's not good. It's not like professional children. It's just like high schoolers, middle schoolers. It's like weird. Anywho, we get into the third quarter. It's a very tight quarter. It's going back and forth. At one point, they interview Chris Paul. He talks about his connection to Camille Little, who's the coach for the Los Angeles Sparks, like assistant coach, that they were pretty tight and they grew up together. So there's a lot of love and appreciation. And they also chat with his son, Chris the third, I guess. I don't know. And he shows love for the game, which is great. I love to see the celebrity showing love, and so that gets the mainstream public to show love as well. But yeah, the third quarter was going. It was, like I said, it was pretty tight. It was going back and forth. At one point, Steph Talbot was going so hard during a timeout. She's like sitting on the bench with her team. She had to get her inhaler. Okay, she had to shake that inhaler and hit it a few times. She was like so gassed, but she was playing exceptionally well. The Sparks end up leading at the end of the quarter by 10 points. And 10 points. Crazy at the end of the third. So they're looking good. Between the third and the fourth quarter, they go to DJ Mustard. He's in the crowd. He's in the building. The Sparks dance crew do like a tribute dance to him, and then the house DJ gives him a customized jersey. Great, local love. That's fantastic, I guess. Then we get into the fourth quarter, and then the Sky turn on the Jets. They start playing much better at the start of the fourth quarter, and they get the lead down. And then at one point, they get the lead. Within like 6.5 minutes left of the quarter, they get the lead. And I'm like, ooh, this isn't good. I think they might turn this out. Another celebrity is in the building, Storm Reed. They end up having her throw out T-shirts to the crowd. So random, but they were like, LA loves to let everybody know where the celebrities are. But anywho, back to the game. The 6.5 minutes left. The Sky are able to hold off the Sparks. Dearica Hamby is just not playing that well, to be honest. Like, she can play so much better, and she just did not play that well tonight. And they shut her down. And then Cardoso, I was like a little contentious moment at the end. Camila Cardoso fouls Ray Burrell with 15 seconds left in the game, and she fouls her making a three. And I was like, ooh, and the score's kind of tight. And I was like, ooh, this might not be good, but Ray misses one of the shots, so it's fine. And the Sky end up winning 90-86. And then the breakdown for that, let me get that going here. The breakdown for that game for the Los Angeles Sparks, Rickea Jackson did her best. She had 13 points. 1 block, 5 rebounds. Like I said, Dearica Hamby did not have a good night. She had 7 points, 9 rebounds. Really quiet night for her. Azurá Stevens had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. Kia Nurse had 16 points. This is a pretty good outing for her. She's been struggling lately, and 2 steals, so she had a really great game coming back from Canadian Olympics. Crystal Dangerfield had 11 points, 6 assists. 1 steal. Lee Yuru had 7 points. Stephanie Talbot had 13 points. Like I said, she was going off. She was doing the most and really helping the team. She even had a block. Ray Burrell had 7 points. Is that it? Yeah. And I said Stephanie Talbot. Did I say Stephanie Talbot? Yeah, 13 points she had. So Odyssey Sims this is her first game. She got 2 points. I mean, it wasn't like a lot, but she was in the game and she did contribute. Now for the Chicago Sky, Michaela Onyenwere had 6 points. Angel Reese had 14 points, 11 rebounds, got her double-double as she does, 1 block as well. Camila Cardoso had 15 points, 14 rebounds. She got a double-double as well, 2 blocks, but she did end up fouling out of the game when she had that last foul on Ray Burrell. Rachel Banham had 14 points. Lindsay Allen had 16 points and 6 assists. And Kitty Carter had 9 points, kind of a quiet night for her, but she just came back from being sick, so that's probably part of it. And Isabel Harrison had 9 points. So just a little bit more from more players from the Chicago Sky that really impacted the game, and the fact that Hamby did not have a good night, I think really kind of spoke to what happened here. But it was really fun games. This is just like a lot going on until the end of the season. There's going to be games tomorrow as well, so I'll be catching up on that. If you like these kind of recaps, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.